Hello guys, welcome back to Protect and Persevere. So today's video is going to be on a slightly different note. Instead of the normal guns, gear, and other cool guy stuff, this is actually going to be more in the preparedness realm. Because like I said before, this channel is not only about, cool stuff, but also mainly about helping others protect themselves, their families, and their communities, and to persevere through hard times. So lately, if you live pretty much anywhere in America or even some parts of Europe, I know there's a lot of the, big buzzword heat wave going on and certain, or heat domes going on. And while I will agree that there is, increased temperatures in, parts of America and parts of Europe, and while people can speculate, why there's an increase, but I'm just going to be talking about hot weather slash heat wave kind of grid down or power outage kind of tips, and my personal kind of preparedness plan for it. Now, there's a series that I could do of this, but lately I've just been trying to square away this one aspect of my own preparedness plan, so I'm not really going to go into a deep dive of like very basic like hot weather survival, because people have already regurgitated that much information online and they can do a better job and they've already done it. So I might link a couple videos I've watched, but besides the obvious, like drink water, stay hydrated, wear loose fitting clothing, stay in the shade and out the sunshine, like all that basic stuff. So yeah, this is my kind of just home base preparedness plan for hot weather and survival. This is basically just a portable ice maker, and it should only be using around 120 watts, but this way I'll be able to actually continually make ice just from a jackery. Well, it's been about 7.5 minutes, and first batch of ice is done. So now it's been about 15.5 minutes, almost 16 minutes. Got more ice. So it's only drawn about 90 watts. Alright, so that while the ice maker is going, I wanted to go ahead and show you kind of the bigger part of my whole solar system for hot weather. So this is a old Coleman 48 liter, I'm guessing, cooler that I just had chilling somewhere. And I'll link the guy that I actually found this from, but essentially it is a like boat blower fan, some couplings, some flexible tubing, couple PVC pieces, and essentially, and that's a cigarette lighter switch. Essentially, the thought process is a kind of humidity-free air cooler, so not necessarily an air conditioner, but pretty cost-effective and power efficient way to at least get you some cold air. So type of grid down scenario, power outage, heat wave, whatever, this is a pretty good, solid, cheap system that, like I said, I'll link the guy's video. But essentially you have all this tubing here that you fill this with cold water or ice or mix of both, and so this fan, which only draws like 60 watts of power, so I can basically run it indefinitely. So it'll take in the hot air, throw it through this tubing, get cooled by the, not convection, or it might be convection, but in that it'll cool the air moving through this and then out. And also, keeping, I guess, ice too, if you want to use that, but I don't know how clean this guy is, but I guess you could always filter the water again and just keep going. So my thought process is, with this jackery, with, enough solar input, have this dude making ice, throwing the ice and water in here, and this should be keeping that insulated. And then I should essentially be able to run both. I probably wouldn't be running the ice maker at night, but basically running enough to where I could fill this dude up with ice, and it should last a while, and be able to at least cool down, I wouldn't necessarily say a small room, but more like keeping, if you were standing right in front of it or sitting right in front of it, it'll keep you cool, especially when, you know, it's still relatively warm at night and you're just trying to go to sleep. That's a big deal, getting good rest in some type of grid down event. So the other part of my kind of hot weather summer, you know, heat wave grid down preparedness plan is also these portable box fans. Shout out to a Survival Theory, because he actually turned me on to this product a couple years ago, which sadly I don't think they make these anymore, but they make similar models, and I'll probably throw in some other ones that are similar. But basically, it is a fully metal box fan that has an external battery that, even though it's not plugged in right now, it essentially can still, you know, provide power. So my thought process is keep this fully charged, you know, with the Jackery, and at night, in addition to the air cooler, you could have a fan going, because besides having, you know, enough solar output to power, you know, a legit air conditioning unit, all you can really do is provide ice water, and air circulation, and that's about all you can do. Besides, you know, underground cellars and whatnot. But yeah, so that and you could have, these aren't too terribly expensive, so you could have, you know, a handful of these, and going through, just personally going through power outages, you know, after bad storms, just having one of these in like a bowl of cold ice, which you can make from your ice maker, that just having that and putting that in front of you to, you know, cool off if you get too hot outside, and, you know, potentially, you know, helping you go to sleep at night, because a lot of people are not comfortable going to sleep when it's not like, you know, 70 degrees, but instead it's like 80 something degrees. So just having a handful of these can be a lifesaver, and not just life-saving and just in terms of comfort, but also preventing heat casualties. Because in a grid down event, there's not going to be, you can't just call 911 because you had heat exhaustion. So yeah. So talking about heat casualties, one thing you could do to try to prevent heat stroke is just having ice, you know, getting a trough of water or a bathtub or whatnot, but filling it with, I think it's about to run out of water. Of just having, let's take for instance this bowl, but imagine that's like a bathtub. You fill it up with ice water, and just putting that person in there, or maybe just putting ice on that person in like a blanket or whatnot. Because essentially, if you have a heat casualty or heat exhaustion, all the, like if you get put in an ambulance, all they'll do is they'll put you in a body bag with ice water to cool you off. Because at that point, you're just trying to prevent the brain from essentially overheating. But yeah, ice, circulation, power, a way to keep ice cool. And I'm also looking into the super insulated ones that like have a gasket seal, because that way, you know, I could just have, that's the thing I haven't fully figured out yet, is how do I keep this ice, you know, ice, you know. Some might just work, there are a couple different theories I have, like the ice box theory, just a super insulated box. I've messed around with the portable freezers, but I just feel like at this current point in time, this is the only unit I have. I can only produce so much solar output. So until I get, like, you know, more solar, the whole mini freezer idea is not really going to work. But I do think maybe something that's more insulated than this, maybe, because I'm only looking at storing like, you know, a couple pounds of ice, and maybe keeping a couple things cool. So yeah, I'm still working on that. But yeah. So this is essentially my preparedness plan for hot weather power outages in a grid down event on a limited budget. So, you know, you can look up what these Jackeries cost. I bought this a couple years ago, so I was fortunate to not pay for how more inflated they are now, but I still think this is the main thing that you want to invest in. If you can invest in a bigger one, go for it. That'll give you a lot more opportunities and capabilities, especially because I believe this unit is actually limited in how much solar input it can actually get. So at a certain point, I can't just keep buying solar, you know, panels. I would have to upgrade my actual ability to take in power. But yeah, so this is my preparedness plan so far. And there's a million other things that can go into that plan. This is just things that I've invested in. Some of this year, but I've started to take it more seriously, just because hot weather, while cold weather can definitely kill you, freezing to death, hot weather is no joke. So, yeah, I hope you all like this video. Stay safe out there, and God bless.